So I'm just giving artists shout outs on my Instagram stories, and if you want me to give you a shout out, just leave a comment down below with your Instagram handle. I'll come up to it and I'll go on your profile, probably like a few posts, and then I'll give you an Instagram shout out on my story. Another thing I want you guys to do is go down into the comment section and interact with all the other artists that are leaving their social media handles down right there in the comment section. I want this to become a community of artists that really want to improve and help each other grow the community and just create a better learning place for artists. Hey guys, what's going on? I just flipped the room around, changed the scene a bit. Hope you guys like it. I don't know, let me know down in the comment section what you think about this new setup. I think I like it. It makes it feel like I'm more intimate with you guys. It feels like the camera is way closer to me right now, so I can look you guys in the eye and pretty much discuss heart-to-heart conversation. When was the last time you drew? What did you draw? Right? No, oh come on. That was a nice drawing. Anyways, I'm feeling good. Today we have an amazing artist called SPAREKISS. I have been following him on Instagram for a while, since last year though. I found him through someone shared his Instagram on their story and I saw his work is really fantastic. So I went into his Instagram profile, saw a lot of his works, followed him and started sharing some more of his works. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you want me to share your work, just leave a link down below, leave your Instagram handle down below, and I'll go up to your profile and share some of your work that I find really fantastic and nice, and I'll comment on some posts, leave some likes on a couple of posts, and just pretty much share your work with my audience. So make sure you leave a comment down below. He uses a really fantastic style. It's very fantastic, and I feel like it's easy to nail if you really understand what you're doing. So we're just going to take a look at his Instagram profile and see what he does and how we can use this to color our work faster. So right now I'm on his profile. I don't even know if it's a girl or a guy, but the handle says SPAREKISS, and I think it's a guy. I think it's a guy. If you're a girl, please let me know down in the comment section, but I think you're a guy. Anyway, so he posted this last image and it's really amazing. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, okay, I have to make a video on this. And if you just go through the profile, you see that everything looks very delicious, very juicy. He has these nice colors, nice lighting, and he can even push his characters to like a final with more rendition, more form, make it look like a painting, aside from this easy illustration 3D look. So one thing I noticed about his style is, because I've gone through some of his images and a couple of step-by-steps he posted on his Instagram profile, he uses a grayscale to color technique. So we're going to see how you can use this to actually make your color process a little bit quicker. Which reminds me, so right now I'm just uploading a ton of PSDs that I've been working on for a couple of months now. Let's say over 3 months ago. I just kept on forgetting to upload them to my Patreon, but I'm uploading all of them today onto my Patreon page. So you can go and subscribe to my Patreon. There's a link down below and you get access to all these PSD files. And I also intend to be doing a lot of edits and paint overs on my Patreon page for you guys. So for people who subscribe to me on Patreon, you will have the opportunity to send in your work and I can paint over it and then show you things that I will do if I were the one painting your image. So if you want me to help you with your work, you can always subscribe to my Patreon and I will do that this year. So that's my plan for my Patreon this year, so I can pretty much give more knowledge to you guys that are subscribed to me on Patreon. So that will be me doing paintovers on your work, helping you grow and just helping you study in general. There's a link down below where you can check out my Patreon page. I'm waiting. I'll be waiting for you at the Patreon office. I'm going to Patreon's office now to welcome you guys in. All right, we are in Photoshop right now, and I just brought in his work, so we're just going to take a look at it and see what he does, how he does it, and how we can try it out in our own spare time and learn from it. So this is the final image he had going on. As you can see, it's a very fantastic piece. You can see there's different levels of detail in it. He has highlights, midtones, and different a wide variety of values in his shadows. You can see the darkest. There are different transitions from dark to lights right here. He also has rim lights going on to bring out the character from the background. So actually, this is his shadow work. Now let's go back and just start with the line art. So this is the line art of the image, and you can see pretty neat line art. And after that, he just has a one directional light source going in the image. You can see there's just this one light source coming in from here, coming on from up top. You can see where it's cutting. And anytime you have this one dimensional light source, just one light source coming in from one direction here, it's very easy for you to pretty much know how you can render your shadows, know the amount of levels you're going to use for your shadows. But if you're having to use kind of like a bounce light as your main key light, you're going to have a pretty tough time setting up other light sources in your image. But as you can see, this is pretty easy. Just a single light source coming up from the top. Now this is where it gets interesting. This is everything that goes on within the shadows of that one light source. So as you can see, this looks like 3D, but it's because within those single within that single light source, within the shadows of that single light source he had going, he's doing this. Now this is something I spoke about in a previous tutorial where I showed Victor Title's work, but now I can see that other artists use this similar approach, and I feel like you can also use this as well. Now this is an ambient occlusion. These are areas where light usually won't touch. This plane really doesn't have any ambient occlusion going, but all the other areas where the objects, the elements that the character has on are touching the character, they are dark. So you can see there's a dark spot here, there's a dark spot here, there's a dark spot here, and they are all dark spots all across where the character is interacting with different elements in his holding or his costume. So you can see the same thing for the rats. If there's a shadow, you just paint it slightly with like a soft round brush or something like that. I think that's what he's using. So he's doing the same thing here where these places touch, it's darker. He's doing the same thing here, the same thing here. So that's the entire thing you want to think about throughout the entire piece, where what planes are touching, what objects are touching, and then you just render those out and go all across the entire image. So next step is he brings this to the next level where as you can see, all the other ambient occlusions are showing, but he now takes this further by selecting the entire character, and then he has the entire character on a multiply layer. So he'll take this and then probably create a multiply layer above it and then fill it with the color of his choice. So as you can see in this one, he has a green selected, and then after that he probably painted in the highlights, which are all these different triangles, little squares and triangles, and that's something he likes doing a lot in his work, where he uses little triangles as highlights. He uses these small little shapes as highlights. So that's his own stylistic approach. So now I have this layer on multiply, and then when I just start painting in color, you will see that it just goes above every other thing we have underneath. So you can see how that looks when you start painting your colors underneath it. And why I love this is you can actually use different colors. You can use different colors on the multiply layer, and just play around and try to figure out the colors you want to use in your character without it affecting all the other renditions you have done, everything else you have done with the shadows. You can just pretty much control what colors you want to bring into your character at this point. So this is a really fast way to just go from shades like this to just colors and just nail. You still have your forms read and pretty much have more control on the character. Right now I'm just playing around, and the next step will be to start applying kind of the highlights he has going. So for that, I think you can use a linear dodge layer or a soft light layer, but for this tutorial I'm going to use a linear dodge layer, and then I'm going to use an orange color just for the highlights, or maybe let's use a blue color just for the highlights. So you can just start by selecting the areas where you want your highlights to be and then just brushing those out. And you can always if it's this technique you're using, you can always try out to create create shapes like he does when you're doing your highlights. But if it's something you're doing on your own, maybe you're practicing, you're creating your own character, I'll suggest you to do studies of how planes work and then learn how you can render them on your own. So you're not really doing everything he does, but you're just taking elements from what he does and then transferring them into your own work. So as you can see, you can keep on to paint your highlights on the linear dodge layer, and when that's over, when you're done with painting your highlights, you can always use an overlay layer to pretty much add some more color or any other thing you want to add into your character. Maybe you want to boost the saturation in certain areas, or just add some to color hues, colorations, color variations in your character. You can do that on an overlay layer, and that will work as well. So this is a really fast way to change a grayscale image to color and then just add color to your drawing really fast. And this will only work if you understand how forms work, if you understand how this works, if you understand how light works and how to use your ambient occlusion. So you should take time and practice how ambient occlusions work, take time and practice how to render shadows in your work, and then just study how surfaces touch each other, how different materials, different surfaces react when they touch each other, and then just practice that in your work. Practice with multiple studies, do studies every day if possible, and gradually with time you'll see how your work will improve when you keep on repeating these same techniques and doing them daily, and just practicing while looking at other artists' work for inspiration. Remember, you're trying to learn the knowledge they know. You're not just ripping them apart and just copying their style exactly. You're just trying to leverage on what they know and how you can increase what you know from them. And always make sure to give back to any artist you study from. So if you're doing replicas or studies of a certain artist, I'll suggest if you post those online, make sure you tag the artist and just give credit to every artist that you're learning from, because every artist appreciates when someone gives them a mention or a credit, and I suggest that you should do the same thing as well. So hit that like button if you learned something from this video, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and I will see you in the next video.